Hey guys, I got a new pen today. Came in the mail. This is a Hongdian N7 Blue Peacock. And this pen was $27.80 on Amazon. So let's open it up together. Put some ink in it. I got some Hongdian Peacock Blue ink specifically for this pen. So let's open it up. Comes with a wrench. This is a piston filler. Wow. It's a puke clock. It's a puke. Let's zoom in on this. Okay, so Hongdian here. N7, can you see that? Yep, N7 Peacock. It says Peacock on the top. And I don't know what that word is. I don't know, not sure. Zoom back out. I think this is a celluloid pen, but I don't know if it's picking it up on camera or not, but it's pretty, this part not so much, but this part is pretty see-through. And it has a window so you can see the ink inside. But what you do, as you twist this end of it, the piston moves down, just like a converter, but it uses the entire barrel of the pen to hold the ink. So you can see the piston coming down. You can see it in the window there. And you have the gap here, so when you tighten it again, that's when it retracts the piston and sucks the ink into the barrel. So, and if you need to clean this pen, this wrench goes in here, and you can take it apart. So let's clean this nib first, so we don't have any feed issues like we did last time. Get all the oils off the nib. This nib says let's see, it says since 1997. That's how long this company's been in business. Hongdian Medium 35. That's a medium tip. Alright, so let's close this up. Let's see what this ink looks like. That's very nice. It's darker than I thought it would be. But I like it. Goes well with the pen. So I'm going to twist it this way to force all the air out. And then hear the bubbles. Let's do that again. I have my trusty paper towel ready. Put the cap back on. Let's put the cap on the bottle of ink. So we don't have any accidents. So that's just from the napkin, but let's see. Post it. Let's see if it writes. That's pretty. So this is cardstock, so it is bleeding a little bit, but color's nice. Moment to reset. So when I thought about what topic we could write about today, I thought about all the different types of buses I've driven over the years. So I mentioned in my first video that I have a lot of different hobbies, and one of those hobbies is collecting model buses. So this is a Grumman 870. It's 187 scale by Iconic Replicas. And I used to drive a bus like this. This is a little bit older. This is a flexible, but it's spelled F-L-X-I-B-L-E, no E. Flexible New Look. So, if you know anything about buses, and you know the old GM fishbowl, the bus from the movie Speed, this was the competition to that bus. And in my opinion, it was a much better looking bus. I have driven a bus like this, but they were out of service by the time I started driving. Here's a Van Hool. It's a Belgian company that builds buses. C2045. And I've driven many, many miles in a bus like this. This is an MCI MC9. And this is more so from my childhood riding on these buses. This was the competition for Greyhound back in the day. And they merged in 1987. But they still kept, their livery on the buses into the 2000s, I think. This, I didn't drive for Megabus, but we were the first company to get these buses and put them in charter service. This is a Van Hool, same makers as this bus. They're Belgian. And this is a TD 925 double deck. So this bus holds 81 passengers. It has a bathroom right here on the first floor. And it's got stairwell right here, and another one right here. And the worst part about this bus is this door right here is the only way to get inside the luggage compartment. These doors open on both sides, but loading luggage is kind of a pain. So we actually towed a trailer behind these buses. I think these buses are 43 feet long, where this bus is 45 feet long. They don't look any different in length than the model, but this bus is shorter, but got much more overhang front and rear. So it's kind of a bit of a challenge if you have any sort of uneven surface. Alright, so let's let's start writing. So the first bus I ever drove was a GMC RTS-2. There were a bunch of them in the fleet, so I don't know exactly what year. They were probably mid-80s. And they were in service until the mid-2000s. Then we had the Grumman Flexible, remember no E, just FLXIBLE. Grumman Flexible 870. Some of these buses are museum buses, so this one is a museum bus. Orion 5. I took my CDL test on an Orion 5. Gillig Phantom. Great name for a bus, Phantom. Then the Gillig Low Floor, or sometimes called the Advantage. So this bus had steps up into the bus. This bus, you just walked right into the bus. There's no steps except for the back. The back seats have 2 steps up. So these use a ramp for the wheelchairs. This bus has to have a lift. And I drove school buses too. Thomas Vista. This bus is probably the most hated school bus that I can think of. It's kind of like a conventional bus, but it's a snub nose. So half the engine is inside the bus and half of it sticks out the front. The International Genesis. This was a flat nose bus, but the engine was inside the front next to the driver under what they call a doghouse. International Amtran RE. Out of the school buses, this is a real bus. This is a transit style, flat nose with the engine in the back. And then the International Amtrak became the ICRE. IC stands for International Corp. International Corp. Rear engine. And then the most common IC International Corp. CE. Conventional engine. So this is the regular type of school bus with the engine in the front. And I drove the Bluebird Vision. It's a conventional bus, but the hood is very slanted. And then the Tana C2 is what replaced the Vista. It's probably the most modern of any school bus. It's got more modern features. Orion 1. That's a museum bus. Flexible new look. Museum bus. So I misspoke earlier. This is not a museum bus. These were in service. These were in service until the mid-2000s also with the RTSs. But this one was a museum bus. 15. GMC Fishbowl. It's a museum bus. This bus was from San Francisco. And it's now in a museum in Pennsylvania with the rest of the ones that I drove. 16. MCI MC9. This was a museum bus. But it was a rarity because it was a single axle. It had no tag axle. It's one of 5 that MCI made. 17. GMC PD2903. It's a museum bus. And this is probably the oldest bus I've ever driven. manual transmission. I think this was a Peter Pan. And then the GMC PD 3751. This was a museum bus. I think this was a Greyhound. MCI DL3. This was the DL is the workhorse of the bus market. It's 102 inches wide. Out of all the buses I've listed so far, I think this is the first one that's 102 inches wide. MCI MC8. I drove I think they were 1974, but this is a 96-inch wide bus. And they were getting into modern stuff. Prevo XL2. The Mirage. So we had one of these, and it was set up as an entertainer bus. Prevo H340. So this is a 40-foot modern highway coach. It's H model, 40-foot. And these had Detroit I think they had 6V92s. 23. And for a while there, Prevo, I think they still make the 41-foot. You have to, like, it's a special order kind of thing, but it's a 41-foot. It's got a Detroit Series 60. And what they told me at the time was they needed an extra foot to fit this engine in there. But I've seen 40-foot Prevos with Series 60s, so who knows if that's true or not. And the bread and butter here. The HD45. 45-foot Detroit Series 60 with Alice Edison B500 automatic. They call this bus the Queen of the Road. There's another oddball. H560. This is a 60-foot. 60-foot articulating highway coach. So the front section has 2 steer tires, 2 drive tires, and then 1 trailing tire with an accordion section in the middle. And I think these were 72 passengers. And this also has 6392. But the engine was right here. Alright, 26. X3 45. So it's a 45-foot. Series 60. So H model is more charter, X model is more line run, commuter. They can be used for both. It's personal preference, but H560, the H series is taller. Let's see, they're 12.7, I think. And these are a little bit shorter. Neoplan City Liner. It's 45-foot. Series 60. That's a rocket ship. I think Neoplan is a German manufacturer, but whatever they did, I don't know if it's the bus is lighter or what, but they were fast as shit. Okay, we got the Cetra S417. It's got the Series 60. And this is another German bus. I would say this was my favorite bus to drive. They're pretty over-engineered, so So their systems are kind of complex, which the mechanics don't like, and the HVAC is probably more complicated than it needs to be for the driver. But when they work, they're excellent. 29 Van Hool. C 4500. So 45 foot. And these had Cummins. I don't know how big, but it's not Cummins. Van Hool T2145. So again, 45 foot. I think there are really a couple of these. I think the T is better than the C. 31. Van Hool T835. So this is a 35 foot Van Hool. Pretty much the same as this bus, but it's 10 feet shorter. Drawback to this bus is 45 versus 35. The shorter the wheelbase, the worse the ride is. So on a rough road or highway, it's got lots of bouncing. This bus will wear you out. Van Hool TB925. Double deck. Like I said, 43 feet. Cummins engine. 81 passengers. Great driving bus, great handling bus. Just gotta watch the tail swing and the overhangs. 33 MCI F3500. This is kind of an oddball, but MCI made a 35 foot charter coach that had the Cummins. It had torsion bar, suspension. So unlike the Van Hool 835, 35 foot that rode rough as shit, this bus didn't have airbags. These all have airbags. This one doesn't have airbags. It has torsion bar suspension. Like an eagle. So it rode excellent. Like you're on reputation for being the best riding bus back in the day. I never really got a chance to drive them in service, but I've been on plenty of them. And ironically, when I left the company I worked for, right after I left, they got 2 or 3 eagles. Bad luck. We had trolleys. We had 4 different ones. They were all different. 2 were MCI, MC8 conversions, and 2 were just oddball. One had a Ford engine, the other one, I don't know what that one was. That was a whole one-off. And we had minibus cutaways. So they were Chevrolet truck cabs, and then they put a body on the back. And we had some Fords with the Econoline front and the bus body. And E4500. So we had one of these. It's E model 45 foot. I think this one had a cat. But these buses were neat. They 45 feet, but you get your steer tires, you drive, and your tag. So if the steer tires are going that way and your drive tires are pushing you, your tag axles would actually turn the opposite way of your front steer tires. So you could turn on a dime with that bus. Turning radius. That's great. And that's it. That's all I can think of. There might be more, but 36 different types of buses. Over about 20 years. And that's it for this video. So this pen works really well. It's not expensive, $27.80. I love the ink color. Peacock blue. It's a good pen, I recommend it. It's a pretty pen. Alright, that does it for this video. See you in the next one.